So, folks, will Romney's new supply-side economic plan give him an edge over Santorum ahead of Michigan's very crucial primary? Let's bring in Republican strategist Kevin Madden. We also welcome back James Freeman of the Wall Street Journal editorial board and Matt Lewis of the Daily Caller. Kevin, Team Romney called me this morning. They gave me some information. I am embargoed on details, but what can you tell us about this new supply-side tax cut plan?
Well, look, I think the governor's speech is going to show that here's somebody who knows how to create jobs with experience in the private sector. And I think if you're going to look at a lot of the three big pillars that a lot of people want to hear some details on, I think on the spending side, Governor Romney is going to focus very intently on what government needs to do to reduce our wasteful spending, to lower deficits. I think on the tax side, how would we look at reforming both individual rates as well as the corporate rates that are needed to create jobs? And I think, lastly, on the entitlement side, we have to have entitlement reform if we're going to unleash some growth in our economy. But also, it's going to be important to get back our idea as a party, as reformers who are challenging the status quo. So I think you take all that together and you have a very comprehensive, a very bold economic reform plan.
James Freeman, welcome back. Do you think it'll work? I mean, I can say this. I can't give details. It's embargoed until tomorrow, and I don't want to violate the trust. But it is a supply-side plan. It is across the board, and it does have incentives at the margin. I know you've been writing, Jim, about the need for a bold jobs plan. Does this sound like it from me?
Well, he's going to put out the details tomorrow. I think the problem all along for him has been that he's been pushing this 59-point plan that lacks a single bold idea. It was basically the least pro-growth plan in the Republican race. So to the extent that he decides that he wants to come out and be a growth economics guy, it's never too late and always welcome.
All right, so, Matt Lewis, you've heard the run-up now. You don't know any more about the Romney plan than I can say, so I'm going to leave it at that. But what has caused Rick Santorum to slow down, lose ground? All of a sudden, this is a real horse race. A week ago, Santorum had a big lead, Matt. What's changed in your judgment? Because this primary is huge. It is gigantic. If Mitt Romney loses this primary, it's almost catastrophic. But if Mitt wins this primary, he will have had a come-from-behind, comeback kid victory. Where do you see it, Matt?
I think it's a toss-up right now. I think the worst thing that happened to Rick Santorum was this oddity of the amount of time that has elapsed between, when he won those three caucuses and when, 3 weeks later when Arizona and Michigan will vote. If Michigan had been 5 days ago, Rick Santorum would have won. And so, but Mitt Romney has organization and money, and it's hard to keep organization and money down for a sustained period. I do want to say something to Larry about Mitt Romney's economic plan. I think he needs a brand image. If you think about Steve Forbes, you think flat tax. If you think Paul Ryan, you think entitlement reform. If you think Jack Kemp, you think empowerment zones. If you think Herman Cain, you think 999. But when you think about Mitt Romney, you think nothing. There is no message.
I thought you think 59 brands.
That's the problem.
Now, he's got, I say that tongue check, he's got, he can brand this, say how he can brand it, but I'm telling you, I want to get my pal Kevin there. Come on, Kevin. Right. He can brand it, because I was told what's going to happen in this thing when it's unveiled, and it's right there. It's very Reagan-esque, Kevin. I want to tease it out of you. Can he brand this new tax cut plan, Kevin Madden?
Well, look, yeah, I think it's economic growth for the future. I think that's the most important thing.
But it has a number. Also, it has a number in it.
Yeah, the number. Well, the numbers I don't want to get too far ahead on. But look, yeah, I think that, look, 59 points, everybody always says presidential candidates, they're always talking about their economic plans. I don't get any details. Well, with Mitt Romney, he had 59 points in his details. But I think you're right. As we've gone through this process, what we have now is the campaign's found an ability to really distill some of the core pillars of what economic growth looks like in a Romney presidency, and I think you're going to get that from this particular plan.
James Freeman, how big a mistake did Santorum made besides what his financier Foster Freeze? Foster's a good guy. He told an off-colored 1950s joke. I'm going to leave that go. But Rick Santorum brought up the issue, Jim, about phony theology, that Obama's Christianity is not biblically based, and other things. How big a mistake was that?
Well, as he explained it, I think Santorum's explanation was that he was referring to environmental policy, some see it as kind of a secular religion among the more extreme elements of the environmental movement. So I think that was the reference there. I would say generally, I don't think his discussion of religion offends Michigan voters as much as it offends the media. So I'm not sure I'd call this a Romney surge yet, and to the extent he's bounced back a little bit, may have been because of the Snyder endorsement last weekend. Mr. Romney now essentially has all of the state's political establishment behind him, along with all the money. And remember, he's still in there, and in early January he was supposed to win this in a runaway. So if anything, maybe the stakes have been raised for Romney to win. But I don't know. The Santorum, that speech at the Detroit Economic Club, it was mainly about economics. I'm not sure what the problem was with that.
Well, Matt Lewis, I don't have any problem with defending religious freedom. I think that's great. I think the whole issue of pro-life, I mean, social issues are very important, socially conservative issues. It just seems like Rick Santorum, Matt, has gone too far and gotten too tangled. So he's gotten off the pro-growth message that Jim Freeman heard at the Economics Club. Is that a possibility here? I'm just looking. I don't know the answer. Is that a possibility?
I think it is. I mean, look, part of the problem that Santorum has is some of this stuff isn't gaps he's making on the campaign trail. They're videos that people are digging up from things he said 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. But it is very important for a political candidate to be able to stay on message and to control the agenda. And as much as I know you and I think it's bad fiscal policy, I do think his manufacturing plan to give them a zero tax rate is a political winner, especially in Michigan. And I think, look, Rick Santorum should be talking about social issues. And by that, I mean tackling poverty, defending the right to life. He should not be talking about social issues like putting abortion doctors in jail.
Right.
It's how you talk about it, not that you talk about it.
All right, gentlemen, I got to jump out. I'm out of time. Kevin Madden, James Freeman, Matt Lewis, I'm sorry, we're always out of time. Don't forget, tomorrow night, I've got an exclusive with